on, come on, come on. No. The previous owner spent like $1,500 trying to fix this long cranking issue. We're gonna fix it in this video for about 50 bucks. But first, before we get to fixing real problems, we gotta go have some fun. All right, give it a little prime. Yeah, that's all you gotta do. Minus 386 days since the last service and a check engine light. All right, we're off to a good start. Gotta get that thumbnail. Sounds like it. Do not crash. Well, I bought another AMG, but this time it's an SUV, a legendary SUV, and not many know about these, so let me give you the cliff notes on the ML55 AMG and why I think they're a killer bargain right now. They came out in the year 2000 for about 65 grand with about 350 horsepower and a top speed of 141 miles per hour. This was the fastest production SUV at the time, and it started the horsepower and performance wars in the SUV market that we see today. The ML55 shares the same 5.4-liter V8 engine and bulletproof 5-speed automatic transmission as cars like the E55 and the C55, and unlike my inspiration for the project, this sweet Overland build X5, the ML has a full frame. It's all-wheel drive, you can switch the transfer case into low range with the press of a button, it comes with factory big Brembo brakes, and it has a torsion bar suspension so you can lift it for free, which I'll show you in this video. Best part is these things are cheap. I paid $3,850 for mine with a clean title, about 150,000 miles, and only 2 previous owners, and you can get the V6 ML320 or ML350 for a couple of grand nowadays. All the MLs are very capable off-road in stock form, their drivetrains are phenomenal, parts are readily available, and in this series we're going to take the best ML they made to a whole new level on a budget and with a fast approaching deadline. This is a series I've been dying to make for you all, so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and follow me on Instagram at LegitStreetCars for updates in between videos. This is awesome. All right, check this out. So I ceramic coated only the hood, and I want to see after we're done here, it'll probably be a little dry. We're gonna rinse it off, see how easy it is. I'm definitely smelling coolant. Should be okay, little buddy. Oh, is it leaking? Oh yeah, pretty bad now. Oh, comment down below, what's your guess? Radiator, hose? All right, well, oh wait a minute. Yeah, you can literally see it squirting out right there. Look at that. That is the radiator. Yep, I totally blew the radiator. And this definitely looks like the original sticker on here. After we fix some cosmetics on this truck, I'm gonna ceramic coat the whole thing. And that way, after we go off-roading, it can be a pretty nice luxury SUV with just a rinse. So I only ceramic coated the hood, and look at how clean it is. All the dirt just rinsed right off. And we go over to the fender, which is not coated. Same rinse, not coming off. Now I use the Armor Shield 9 ceramic coating kit from Avalon King, and I've been using this DIY kit on most of my fleet over the last 3 years. It's super user-friendly and easy to apply, and if you can wax a car, you can definitely ceramic coat a car. The process is almost the same. Wipe it on, wait a minute, and wipe it off. The coating fills the pores of your clear coat or any exterior surface and creates a clear shield that protects your cars for years, not months, like wax. This is also an amazing trim restorer. It's instant gratification, and you can coat glass, you can coat your wheels so dirt and brake dust don't stick to them, and the coating gives your painted finishes a deep glossy shine that you're gonna love. As you saw, nothing sticks to the surface, meaning your car stays cleaner for longer, and in many cases, all you need to freshen up your car in between washes is a quick rinse. The Armor Shield 9 kit comes with everything you need to coat an entire car, including easy-to-follow directions. I made a 4-minute instructional video that I'll link down below that shows you how to clean, prepare, and apply the coating in case videos are more your thing. Now, you can always save 25% by clicking on my link below and using promo code LEGIT, but for the next few days, Avalon King is having a blowout sale. It'll never be this cheap again, and the more you buy, the more you save. One kit will coat a normal sedan, but for trucks and SUVs, you'll probably need 2, and to get this deal, all you have to do is click on my link below or just go to avalonking.com/legitdeal. This ends Monday, November 30th, 2020, so don't delay.
Look at this. We have a tree trying to grow on the top of my control arm. So the long cranking problem is a bad fuel filter. And leave it up to Mercedes to build in the fuel pressure regulator right into the fuel filter and to put it in the most impossible spot. This took seriously about a half hour. Pays an hour and a half at the dealership. But this thing has 4 lines going to it and it's jammed in here. It's completely insane. But this is the entire problem. So the previous owner spent about $1,500 at a shop having the fuel pump and the crank sensor replaced, and they didn't bother to do the fuel filter with the regulator. So this is always what the problem is. So we're gonna get a brand new one in. It's actually more than $50. It was like $100 from the dealership. Hard to find for the ML55, but we got it. We're gonna put it in and we should be able to fire this thing up after it sits for days and it'll be fine. We've been soaking the torsion bars in penetrating oil overnight because there's a good chance these things have never been out and the truck is 20 years old. So we're gonna be removing the torsion bars and indexing them in order to adjust the ride height. And this is a really cool feature on any of the W163 chassis MLs is that you can lift your SUV for free. Other than that, it looks really nice under here. I've already kind of checked everything over before we went off-roading, and there are no leaks whatsoever. Now, I know what you off-road guys, you Jeep Wrangler guys, were probably thinking when we're doing donuts in the mud and climbing little mud hills or whatever. Your mom's Jeep Cherokee Laredo, a 2-wheel drive SUV, could probably do the same thing. And yeah, you're right. But that is not what we're building the ML55 for. We have a strict deadline, and our goal is to have this ready for the winter rally in Michigan. It's at Drummond Island. We're gonna have about 2,000 acres to ourselves, 200 miles of trails, and this is a limited event, so we're gonna have Raptors, Wranglers, one ML55, probably the X5 is going, and we're gonna be driving the trucks onto a ferry. I don't even think we get out, and the ferry brings us to the island. We're gonna be hitting up the trails, off-roading, and it's one of the most affordable rallies you guys will ever go to, so check out the information down below. There's gonna be a link to register. Register sooner than later if you guys wanna go, and make sure to bring something that won't break, like a 20-year-old Mercedes that have to drive 8 hours from Chicago, off-road for the entire weekend, and then somehow drive 8 hours back home. Oh yeah. So right now the torsion bar is twisting. See that turning? All right, there we go. It's a little hot, but there's our bolt and it's pretty well protected, luckily. If this got rusted or seized in there, it'd be a nightmare to get out. All right, so we do have a little bit of mud in this area. When I was a Mercedes dealer tech, we would get complaints of creaking noises over bumps, and we'd have to lubricate this little plastic plate here. You can see this one's a little cracked up, so if we can get one of these, we might replace this. So this is probably all from us, but as you can see here, the threads, the important part on the torsion bar, are totally clean and protected, and we will be lubricating those when we go back together as well. And now on to the fun part. We have to slide this sleeve back in order to pull the entire torsion bar out, and sometimes these guys get stuck. All right, hang on, show the world this crazy tool we got going on here. Look at that.
So we basically pull that back, scribe the mark.
Yeah, so now we're scribed. We know that this lines up right here, and we're good to go. Yellow paint marker does the trick as well, but it may come off.
You never can predict if you're gonna knock it off or not.
I got one of these tools, man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
There
pretty hot.
Yeah, looks good. Ooh, yeah, that is toast. God, I'm surprised it wasn't making really any noise. This is really bad, so we'll have to get 2 new plates for this. That is insane. I thought that was gonna break off for sure.
It didn't strip out, didn't break off.
It's the OJ touch right there. So here are our splines, and I'm gonna mark the factory location. So we're gonna mark where the torsion bar was stock, just in case. So these things actually come right out. You don't have to remove any of the exhaust or the trans cross member or anything. Should be able just to hammer it out. I feel like I'm gonna break my hand off with this thing. I mean, this spring doesn't mess around. All right, so we're scribing it because we have to torch this thing. It is not coming even with the air hammer. So we're gonna heat it up and we might lose some of our nice yellow paint there. So at home, I'm always using MAF gas. Totally jealous of the oxyacetylene torch.
Yeah, once you've got oxyacetylene, it's kind of a waste of time to not use it.
I just don't want the huge tank in the garage. It's not that big.
Well, it's a big liability too. So.
Jesus. I should just grab this right now. We got it off. That took about a half hour. So if you're doing this in your garage, you might need oxyacetylene. This thing is awesome. Look at that. It's got a wiper blade. Gonna look brand new. So like I said, the inspiration for the ML55 build is this 2002 X5, which we've put some different tires on and wheels, and this looks really, really good. So we're gonna be doing tubular bumpers on the ML just like this. It's gonna have a winch, which this does not have. We're gonna have a roof rack. We're gonna have the spare up there. We are probably gonna use the factory ML55 wheels and put a rock ring. We're gonna weld a ring around them. It's gonna be really cool. Tubular front bumper, of course, is going on the ML55. We're gonna have a snorkel. We're gonna be lifted. We're running custom Bilstein shocks all the way around. We got to mess around with the springs. It's going to be one of the most unique MLs around. So it's going to be kind of like an Overland build, like safari build, whatever you want to call it. So not necessarily a Jeep Wrangler rock crawler, but more of a kind of a trailblazer, something that you can take on trips and hit some trails and just drive all day long in comfort. And we're gonna make it reliable as well. So there's gonna be some parts that need to be replaced, like the radiator. All right, so our new fuel filter is installed. We replaced this line as well. It was all kind of mangled right over there. And I started the truck about 3 hours ago just to prime the system. So at this point, before with the old filter and regulator, it would just crank and crank and crank. So this is enough time to test our repair and see if it'll start right up. Yep, fires right up. So this thing actually was maintained. The guy did show me a bunch of records. They just didn't know how to reset the cluster. The original owner owned this truck for 16 years, and then the guy before me owned it for 4. And the check engine light that looks like it's as bright as the sun right now, it's for the rear O2 sensor, so no big deal, not gonna affect how the car runs. And in the next episode, I'm gonna show you guys a trick on how you can sometimes save your rear O2 sensors and not spend any money. So when I squeeze this upper radiator hose, you can just see the coolant coming out. So basically where the plastic end tank meets the aluminum radiator, it must have cracked or split. There's a seal in there that could be leaking. And I honestly think that's just from jarring the truck up and down when we were doing donuts and climbing crazy mountains out there. So new radiators in order. I much rather have that happen here than 8 hours away in Michigan. So we've cleaned up the splines. We're putting some heavy duty grease on here. So if this ever has to come apart again, it'll actually come apart. And take a look at this. Other than the hammer marks, looks awesome. Looks awesome. This is blasted. And we could paint this at some point, but right now we're gonna fit it back together and check out what our ride height looks like. So right now it's in the stock location. I kind of mock this back up on the ML so I can get my bearings straight and figure out which way we're going. So I marked it with my sweet little arrow. So we need to go 2 splines up this way.
Doesn't seem like a lot.
Look at how nice this is now. If only that's how it was. All right, so we're gonna put our little retaining cap on there. We're gonna use a little bit of Loctite. All right, so we've indexed one of the torsion bars. We got one more to go. We're gonna lube up that end, going back in, and then it's just a matter of kind of playing with the ride height. So we got the torsion bar in. We had to pry it down now that we are indexed. At this point, we're ready to tighten up this bolt, and it's gonna raise the suspension of the ML. And this is where we're gonna kind of have to play with it, but I'm gonna get pretty aggressive with this. We had to loosen up the shock in order to get that bolt to fit in there, and now it's not even reaching. So this is where longer shocks may be a necessity. All right, guys, so we're having a ton of problems now that we've indexed the torsion bars. Basically nothing's lining up with the shocks, and our little white plastic plates, one of them is just broken in half, the other one is pretty cracked up. So we're having some problems there. And right now I can show you what the ride height is basically going to look like. But after playing around with it for a while, this is what we came up with on this side. So we just have the jacks under there as a precaution. There's no shocks hooked up, and we don't have everything totally tightened up in the back. But this is looking pretty sweet, pretty aggressive. And then once we fill it up with some bigger tires like this, we're thinking 33s, this thing is gonna seriously look mean. So in the next episode, we're actually gonna be lifting the body with hockey pucks, and we'll finalize our ride height and maybe have some tires for this thing. So next video, this thing is really gonna have a serious stance. Now you guys can still lift one of these things without indexing them. All you do is simply crank that bolt, you just tighten it up and it'll lift it up, but we're going for a lot more in this case. That's why we're doing the indexing, and that's the only reason why we're running into issues with the shock. So don't worry, you guys can lift yours for free, and it's way easier. Just tighten the bolt and you're good. All right, so you guys gotta see the shocks that we ordered up for this. They're on this funky ride right here. But we ordered up some Bilsteins for the front that does have a reservoir on there, so this is gonna look mean. And then we ordered up some Bilsteins with reservoirs for the rear, although those are gonna require probably a bit of custom modification, but these are on the way. We should have these in the next video. It's gonna look so cool. So if you guys have an E53 X5 99 to 2006 and you wanna lift it like the one in this video, and you can fit 33-inch tires with this lift, this is what you need right here. And Fluid Motor Union, where I'm doing pretty much all the work on the ML, makes these custom. So I'll leave their email down below. You can email them and get a set of these. Very simple. So this kit will space out the spring and the shock on the X5. This is about 1.5 inch lift, and it will fit some pretty gigantic tires on there. So very cool, easy bolt-on kit. I'll leave the email down below. All right, guys, that'll do it for today's video. In the next one, we have a ton of parts on the way, a lot of work to do. We're gonna get that ride height and the body height set. Hopefully we'll have some shocks, maybe some tires. We got a lot of stuff to think about and plan out with this so that it makes it a total of 16 hours driving and an entire weekend of messing around. So I hope you guys are as excited about this series as I am. If you are, hit the thumbs up button, share the video, subscribe if you're new, and most importantly, have an awesome day. I'll catch all of you in the next video.